Warning: the following courtroom events are graphic and may be disturbing to some viewers. Seeing as the original footage pictured here was taken in Verona, Italy, the original Italian has been dubbed over for showing overseas.
Viewer discretion advised. Court is now in session. I call to the stand Bartholomew, a great historian and librarian in Verona, knower of all our history.
O Lord Capulet, of noble house, why dost thou hate thy equal, the noble Lord Montague, so? 'Tis the way of my family. 'Twas my father's dogma before mine, and his before his. 'Tis the way of a Capulet to hate a Montague. And what consequence, do I ask, hast this hate brought upon your house? I balk at your question. To think that thou infer that protecting my children and kin from these villains is of consequence. Simply absurd. I merely do my best to teach my children of their villainous actions. And finally, I ask, have you no recollection of the start of this most ugly feud? Well, no, I have not a clue what started this bloody conflict between our two houses, but I assure you, my reasons are just and certainly better than the lies of those Montague villains. Yah! And here I rest my case. This hate-mongering father spent his years heading this most noble house, perpetuating a conflict of which you had no account. Well, I do object. Your own defense betrays you. Doth he not just say that this hatred instilled within him 'twas not of his own volition? How can one be held accountable for how they are raised? I hath a quote for thou. The sins of the father are visited upon the children. Whenever one is born to another, they have a responsibility to learn from the mistakes of their parents, as to make this world of ours better as a whole. For those who don't, those villains whom spread violence and hate without thought are truly to blame. So I ask, Lord Capulet, what have ye on these allegations? I have nothing in my defense. I was raised to hate the dogs of House Montague, as I was raised to breathe air. I see nothing wrong with this hate in my heart.
The court recognizes our second prosecutor, the nurse of the late Juliet Capulet.
Oh, my once honorable lord, I ask this. Did you love sweet Juliet? Did the sweat of your brow go to wanting her best? Why, I answer as any good father would, with a resounding affirmative. How dare thou insult me so? Well then, my lord, if what you say is for honest, then answer this. Why hire a nurse? Why not be there and get to know and love your daughter? Instead, thou hast fathered her from afar. Well, I am indeed the lord of a busy and prosperous house. We would not be here if not for my sacrifice. Imagine what all those sorry. Imagine what all those royals and nobles would say had I been spending all my time with my daughter. A truly poor excuse, and surely locking the fine daughter up in a tower of stone, her only respite being the sanctity of the church, is that a substitute for being a father? You witch! You foolish woman! I must protect my daughter, shield her from villains and evil influences. I never should have hired such a foolish knave. Well, surely the jury sees my point. By not being present for the Lady Juliet, and by locking her in the dreary Capulet manor, he was blind to her motivations and desires, something no good father should be.
The court would like to recognize our final prosecutor, Jerome, the Capulet wedding planner.
Dear Mr. Capulet, I 'twas to plan your royal wedding. Having met both the bride and the groom, I ask that you share with the courtroom what was dear sweet Juliet's attitude towards the marriage.
When I first announced this holy union, she was rather distraught, but upon second counseling, her tears half dried, and gave a solemn agreement to the marriage. Yes, yes.
Well, 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 would the members of the jury be surprised to hear that Juliet's acceptance was a lie? She had no intention of marrying County Paris. Good Lord, she didn't even want to meet outfits with him.
"'Tis not a matter of her consent. I am her father. 'Tis my right alone to marry her off."
Yes, yes. And here, court, lies my point. This father, so enamored in his own control, would arrange such marriages and other such things to the point of his own daughter taking her own life.
Well, I diddly do object. These are the ways of fair Verona, and the ways of our time. Sure, in hundreds of years to come, seeing our daughters as merely property perhaps might be uncouth, but we live in the now, man. Damn.
I hear the defense, and yet I laugh at the logic. You make claims of this being the way of our culture, but consider not the morality. If a society condones cannibalism, is it right? What of murder and other such unsavory activities? You had an opportunity to save your daughter from a fate she did not wish for. All you had to do was let your morality, not your ego, guide you. But I was racked with grief. I had to, for Juliet, for my family.
Lord Capulet, the jury finds you guilty on several counts of neglect, entrapment, and drawing out a centuries-long conflict. How do you plead? It doesn't matter. My verdict is as follows. You are to be cast out of the family of Capulet, never to return to Verona, where your ego and hatred has flourished for so long.